Hello and welcome, citizen of the verse. ValSim here. Today we embark on a journey through the vast expanse of Star Citizen and explore the world of the new Salvage missions, which now include the structural salvage. I will show you how you can make millions by playing solo using the Vulture. So, what is structural salvage? Structural salvage was introduced with the patch 3.22, and it isn't just about scavenging debris. It's a lucrative business in the verse, at least until the next patch. So why not to learn how to do it now and make a lot of in-game money? This is a new addition to the normal salvage contract, which you can do once you finish scrapping the ship. Let's move now in the new salvage contracts as per the new patch 3.22. With every new patch, you have to start from the smallest contract of 1000 alpha USC up to the biggest of 50,000 alpha USC. So I have to start with the 1000 alpha USC contract, and here I picked the cutter. For new players, if you're just starting with the salvage contracts, approach the ship slowly, not at a high speed, because the Vulture needs time to stop. And some of my first contracts ended by a big crash, so be very careful by approaching the ship. Before starting, check your key bindings that you will need to use for the structural salvage. Go to key bindings, advanced controls and salvage. This is very important to do before you start the first contract. There you will find two new key bindings: right alt plus W for fracturing and right alt plus S for disintegrate. It's important to check your key bindings before you start salvaging. The biggest change next to the structural salvaging, this is the creation of a buffer of a 13 SEU for the Vulture and the incredible 240 SEU for the Reclaimer. The new information on your screen you will see on the right side. This is the 13 SEU buffer, and on the top you have the fracture and disintegrate indicators that will show you when you use them. Now I will pass quickly the salvage process, and you can see that in the end we have made about 1 SEU. I finished salvaging the cutter, so let's move to the cargo to see what's new there. You have now on the screen the content of the buffer: recycled material or construction material. Below you can select which material to be injected, and last you can check if you want an auto eject of the boxes. Let's now fracture the cutter. We have first to activate the fracture mode with right alt plus W. And as you can see, the fracture mode is activated. However, I cannot see anything that is happening. It's the first time, so something has to be changed. I'm trying salvaging, that is not. Maybe to move the ship a little bit closer, and maybe this is the solution. Indeed, and you see now here you have the information that is fracturing. There is a circle that normally is filling, and that the total SEU is 2. The animation is now, and we are just waiting the circle to be filled, and when this will happen, the ship is fractured. So when the ship is fractured, we can move to the next step, which is disintegrate and activate the mode with right alt plus S. And you see is activated. We have to move closer. It's the same idea like for the fracturing, and when we approach close enough, you see the animation, the parts of the ship start to disintegrate, until again you have in the middle circle that should be filled, and as you see the information, we will have 3.1 SEU from that. The second salvage contract I will show you is one of 20,000 alpha UEC for a constellation, and the purpose is only to show you what you get. I will speed up everything, so just to show you that, for example, from salvage you get 5 SEUs, and when you start now the fracturing, so you can fracture a constellation, which is very nice, and here you can select the different parts and start the disintegration. And the important thing is that you have to really look at your buffer. So first start with one piece, and when you go closer to this piece, you will see a small screen in the middle that will show you how many SEU this will be, and the disintegration begins. And you see also on your right that is 4.3 SEU targeted yield. And this is also the same. You wait till the circle in the middle is filled, and when everything is ready, the material will enter in the vulture. So as you see here, you have really to find the right position and not to be too far, not to be too close to the wreck. And when the circle is filled, then everything is ready to be taken by the vulture. You can continue on the same way to check all the parts, and one important thing is that when you are almost full, and for example you want to continue with the disintegration, you will get on the right a message that this is too big for the remaining buffer. So that's why you have to choose some small parts of the ship until you are full, and you get the message that the filler station is full. Moving down now to the cargo, we can see now that I have two different materials, but only the construction material can be ejected because I have enough material only for that. The containers are identical to the recycled material, so you have to be careful how you place them in your cargo, not to mix the different boxes. And you see, just this is a normal ejection. I'm doing this manually in order not to be very quick, and because I don't have enough place. So this is now the essential about the salvage mission. The last thing that we have to do is, of course, now to go sell our material. While I continue placing my containers, I want to stress one important point. When we have our voucher full with containers, we have to sell them, and the important point is that the materials cannot be sold on the same place. The recycled materials, they can be sold on the TDD on every planet spaceport, but the construction material, they can be sold only at the admin office or at the stations above the planets like Beijing Point, Port Tressler. So pay attention on that. You have to sell the material on two different places. One another very important point is, of course, the price at which we can sell the goods. The construction material can be sold at 6,000 alpha UEC per container at the admin office, and this is not bad. And the RMC, the recycled material composite, can be sold at the TDD. Here I have an example at Lorville, and this can be sold for the price about 13,400 alpha UEC per SEU, which is a huge amount and very important to notice. The last contract that I will do for this recording, it's a 50,000 contract for a A2 Hercules, and that's, the biggest contract. And my idea to try to check and show you how many SEUs we can make with the Vulture as a solo player with a contract like this of 50,000 for A2, and whether we can make the new fracturing salvage with such a big ship. As always, approach very carefully the ship at low speed. Do not rush the things. Important with the big ships is that it always good before you start salvaging to scan and to check what they have as goods. Unfortunately, we cannot find any more big things, but what I notice is that at least when you scan until now, you always find one SEU of quantanium and 2 or 3 SEU of gold. So in case you cannot fracture the ship and you have some issues with the normal salvaging, you can loot the boxes inside the ship, which can not cover the total cost of the contract, but just make your loss really smaller than if you have nothing in your hands. So this is important just to note as information. With the 50,000 salvage contract and with the A2, I wanted to test and see and also show you how many SEUs a solo player can make with a Vulture with this contract. So I will speed up here the process of salvaging just to get to the end, when we can see what normally a solo player with a Vulture can make from one single 50,000 salvage contract. So I'm busy here with the first part of the salvaging, which now I'm transferring the first 12 boxes from the buffer, and you see this is the last one. And when I if I can, yes, when I put it on his place, I will have the 12 boxes full Vulture, and I can continue with the second part until my buffer is full with another 13 SEUs, which I will normally also sell. So the conclusion is, and this is only the half of the ship, so I have another half. So actually with my Vulture I have 24 SEUs, which normally is about 320,000 alpha UC. And if I return, I will do the same from the other side of the ship. I have another 24 SEUs, which will make a total of about 650,000 SEU, depending on the price, which it is really not bad. As a conclusion, when we are speaking about the Vulture, the first most important point that we have to mention, this is the creation of the buffer of 13 SEU, which is a huge improvement of the gameplay and game experience for a solo player. Before, you were obliged to go down to the cargo bay to move 2 SEUs before continuing with the salvage of the ship. Now you have the possibility to salvage 13 SEUs, and knowing that the Vulture can have 12 SEU of cargo, you can salvage, and when the buffer is full, you go down to move from the buffer 12 SEU, so a full Vulture one time, and then continue salvaging for another 12 SEU. So in total now with the Vulture you can have 24 SEU with one trip against only 12 SEU before. With the Vulture as a solo player ship, you can do structural salvage on the following salvage contract: the 1000 alpha UEC salvage contract ships, on the 5000 alpha UEC ships, and the 20,000 alpha UEC ships. So the biggest ship that you can fracture with the Vulture is a Constellation or even a MSR. I tried also to do the structural salvage on the 50,000 alpha UEC salvage contract with the A2, unfortunately without success, since the ship is too big and you need a reclaimer to do that. But the king under patch 3.22 is definitely the normal salvage, since the price almost doubled from 7,400 alpha USC per SU up to 13,400 alpha USC per SU, and this is a huge difference. As you saw, when you take the 50,000 alpha USC contract for a A2, you can easily make a profit of 650,000 alpha USC only from that single contract, even without the fracturing salvage. A little extra could be the almost always now available as cargo 1 SU of Continuum and 2 SU of Gold. The fracturing salvage is an extra, nice extra indeed, but if you have to choose what to do, it's definitely the normal salvage. Of course, the best is to do both. In his actual stage under patch 3.22, I will advise any new player to try to buy the Vulture in-game for the price of 1.3 million, and he will get back his money very quickly. If you like my recording, please subscribe to support my new channel. This is very important for me, and this will help me to develop further. For now, I hope to see you on my next recording, and I wish you all the best. Take care. Bye.